Today's video is about why your own artistry is your greatest asset to on-the-fly soloing. Question I saw recently had to do with soloing over jazz standards. Person said that they knew the triads, said that they knew their scales, just felt stuck in a rut when it came to improvising. The way this read to me was that they were doing all the things that they were told to do. They learned the things they needed to learn, yet it was not satisfying, right? So I've talked about this in a previous video pretty recently, how, creation is the thing to get you over plateaus, right? Well, in this case, it's going to be about really theory and practice, right? If you feel like you know the right things, put it to the test, okay? So, and also I will say, and I've talked about this a lot, your preferences are super important. It's very important to know what excites you and what fulfills you in music, because that's what you want to do as you develop your soloing, because that's the thing that's going to allow you to feel like you're progressing. If you don't have that, you're just not going to feel like you're progressing. You're going to feel like you're accumulating a bunch of information that should make you feel better at some point. So what I'm going to be doing today is something pretty risky, something pretty artistic. I'm lined up a jazz standard here. It's called Solar. I've never heard it before. And I have the chords, but I didn't actually look at all of them. I don't care what they are. I just said that. I don't care what the chords are, right? What I want to do is I want to hear the chord. I'm going to play to them, and I'm going to choose what I feel like is the best option for my preferences, right? Guaranteed that a lot of it isn't going to work out, but that's not what's important. If I actually want to get better at soloing, I have to get better at predicting what the next sound will be. Again, it's a tune I've never heard, predicting what the next sound will be and how to resolve that. This really puts all my theory, all my knowledge to the test and allows me to understand sort of what the next thing to focus on as a student of music to be able to do what I want with this track. So without further ado, let's get into it. So it's on. Stop there. Already, I feel like there were some things that were like, wow, that sounded intentional. It sounded like I may have known what the chords were and put it there. And there were other things like, oh, not just there yet, but I accept the sound and I wanted to move from here, right? So this is the kind of thing that allows you to basically come to terms. This is a very psychological thing. This is the kind of thing that basically allows you to come to terms with, okay, I don't know the chords. So what I'm playing, is it valid or is it not? That is a you versus you kind of battle, right? So fortunately, and I feel like maybe this was the major benefit of, having my formative years, without, having my playing online, and even, a lot of this was even before YouTube was even around. But, I was always excited about trying things. So just try things. Try, even if you're in live, just try things, because if you're you have, I would say you have to decide, you know, do you want to come across as more as somebody who knows what they're doing, or do you want to come across as somebody who can create something new for themselves, right? Ideally, you want a bit of both. You know, if you sound like you know what you're doing, there's your credibility as a player. There's also your confidence to control the situation, you know, musically. And if you're, you know, an artist and a risk taker, then you're gonna try to create a moment. You're gonna try to create something, and that's very exciting for you and gives you sort of a reason to play some more and a reason to improvise some more. It's all about finding the potential of what you can do over the track and what you can do over the progression. This, when I saw this question, it brought to mind a really great story that um, two of my teachers, who do not know each other, um, had both seen Julian Bream, the classical guitarist, play live in two different time periods, but pretty much both in the 80s. Um, and they both said the same thing. Very crazy. They both said the same thing. They both said they saw him twice. Both of them saw him twice. And they said it was, one concert was the worst concert that they've ever seen, and one concert was the best concert that they've ever seen. Now, it doesn't mean you have to be so polarized in your approach, you know? Obviously, Bream was a huge risk taker, but he is a renowned figure in the classical guitar. Passed away recently, but you know, many people still listen to his music, his recordings, and are very inspired by his interpretations and what it can do. And that's because he's an artist. And that's the most important thing when it comes to all of this. It's not even what notes you're playing. It's just, you know, do you feel validated in what you're playing? And if you don't, then you need to know more so you could do that, you know? Again, it's just you versus you versus your own standards in this case. And that's you actually taking a stand for something and saying, I'm an artist and here's what I believe in. Yeah, I'm an artist and this is what I care about. I'm an artist and these are my preferences. So I'm going to leave it there for now. In this case, I want everyone who's watching this and who's generally feeling this way, that they're stuck with their playing, especially if they're in a rut, you know, to go, what's the last artistic thing I've done that actually involved risk? And if you can't think of anything, or it's been a while, then I would say put something on. Don't even care about what the chords are. Play over it, you know. Put Schoenberg on. Play over atonal music. Put on Penderecki. Put on, you know, even Philip Glass, like with minimalism and triads, you know, and go in and out and create all kinds of cool things, you know. Again, those are all my preferences, you know. And those are all things. I remember one time, very early, I got a Bach CD and had one of the Brandenburg concertos on. I put it on and I jammed to it on guitar. You know, I didn't have the sheet music. I didn't, you know, I just followed my ear and so, oh, the chord changed, I'm playing this. And sometimes it sounded good and sometimes it didn't. And I didn't beat myself up when it didn't sound good. And I feel like that's the number one thing that's allowed me to feel very free to create on the fly. And that's artistry. So please develop your artistry. Please become the player you want to be. If you're having trouble with that and you would like my guidance and more of my help, please feel free to message me. I'd love to help you out. Thank you. Have a wonderful night.